Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Literally, one moment, a franchise truly believes they have the ultimate, rock-solid foundation for a decade-long dynasty, and the next, they're staring straight down the barrel of an absolutely unforgiving reality. Welcome to an NFL Nexus Premium Explainer. Look, if you want to understand the true, unfiltered, behind-the-scenes mechanics of exactly how NFL rosters are built, and, more importantly, how they're destroyed, you are absolutely in the right place. So do us a quick favor. Subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and let us know your thoughts in the comments down below as we go. And hey, if you truly want to support the kind of deep dive, no-nonsense analysis we do here, become a channel member today. Okay, let's dive right into this whole shebang, because we are about to step inside what is undoubtedly the most high-stakes, pressure-filled training camp in the entire history of the Chicago Bears. Now, on the surface, August in Chicago always brings that intoxicating, almost contagious optimism of a brand new season, right? Everybody's undefeated. But I need you to look closer. Look at the actual balance sheet. Look at the grim reality of the injury reports. Because right behind the pristine, perfectly manicured turf of Hallis Hall lies a remarkably fragile house of cards. We're talking about a roster constructed on massive, precarious, multi-million-dollar contracts. We're talking about aging veterans who are desperately, intensely clinging to their prime, and totally unproven rookies being thrown directly into the absolute fire. The margin for error this season, it is absolute zero. So will 2026 be a massive triumph? Or a complete, unmitigated disaster? The answer to that question isn't going to be decided in December. It's being decided right now, today, on the practice field. Section 1. The ticking clock. Let's get right into the suffocating roster pressure brewing at camp. Section 2. Rookies in the fire. Making an immediate, undeniable impact. So, let's talk about the immense pressure being heaped onto this 2026 rookie class. 3 guys in particular are facing a ridiculously steep climb right out of the gate. First up, we've got safety Dylan Thieneman. Now look, he was a massive first-round steal, absolutely. But here's the catch. He has to instantly master Dennis Allen's notoriously complex defensive scheme, and he has to do it while fighting for reps in an already stacked secondary. That is not an easy task for a rookie. Next, we have center Logan Jones. The clock is already ticking loudly for him because he's turning 25. He needs to deliver absolutely flawless snaps to Caleb Williams to prove he can usurp the established veteran Garrett Bradbury. When you're an older rookie, you don't get a 3-year grace period to figure it out. And finally, tight end Sam Rosh. To even see the field in the Bears' run-heavy, 3 tight end, 13 personnel packages, he has to prove to this coaching staff that his receiving game is just as elite as his blocking. He's walking into a brutal environment where veterans are firmly blocking the path. Let this number sink in for a second. 4.28. 4.28 seconds. That is the blinding, almost unbelievable 40-yard dash time of the Bears' 3rd-round pick, Jaylon Thomas. Now, guys, this isn't just fast. This is game-breaking, reality-altering speed. The kind of speed that literally forces opposing safeties to take 3 steps backward before the ball is even snapped. He is absolutely going to make his mark on special teams right away, but the offensive potential here? It's staggering. Just think about the cinematic possibilities for a second. You have Ben Johnson, a verified schematic genius calling the plays, you have Caleb Williams with that absolute cannon for a right arm, and you have Jaylon Thomas threatening to completely tear the top off an opposing defense. Yes, the Bears have a lot of mouths to feed in that receiver room, sure, but absolutely no one else possesses this pure, unadulterated track star speed. If Thomas catches on to the playbook, the offensive fireworks are going to be blinding. But flip over to the defensive side of the ball, and the hurdles are even more intense. Look at Malik Muhammad II. He was a day 3 draft barbin coming out of Texas, right? He absolutely thrived playing on the perimeter in college, locking down elite receivers. But here in Chicago, he's being forced into a really difficult transition to the slot. And why is that? Well, it's because Kyler Gordon is, as the reports have bluntly put it, a walking hamstring injury, and Tyreek Stevenson just hasn't shown even an ounce of consistency. So Muhammad doesn't even have the luxury of learning his natural NFL position. He's just putting out fires. Then look at Keyshawn Elliott. He's a 5th-round linebacker who's been highly praised by special teams coordinator Richard Hightower for his tenacity, his leadership, all those intangibles. But his rookie campaign is completely stalled before it even starts, beginning with grueling weeks stuck on the physically unable to perform, or PUP list. He is missing crucial, irreplaceable reps. And finally, Jordan Vandenberg. He's a 6th-round defensive tackle out of Georgia Tech. Now, he possesses some rare, truly elite athleticism for a big man, but the technique, it's completely wildly raw. The risk here is monumental for him, because if he doesn't refine his technique immediately, his physical gifts simply aren't going to save him from becoming a permanent healthy scratch every single Sunday. Section 3. The $25 million ultimatum. Let's unpack the terrifying financial crisis involving Jaylon Johnson. $25 million. I really want to let the sheer suffocating weight of that massive number hang in the air for a moment. That is Jaylon Johnson's scheduled cap hit for the 2027 season, which is the final year of his 4-year extension. Now, you might be wondering, why is this a crisis? Well, general manager Ryan Poles is currently sitting there awaiting the green light to sign Caleb Williams to a massive market-resetting contract extension. On top of that, mega extensions for Darnell Wright and Rome Odunze are looming on the horizon like massive storm clouds. When you are paying a cornerback $25 million a year, it literally requires perfection. There is zero room for error. And based on what we saw happen last year, justifying this cap hit today is basically impossible. Because, let's be honest, last year was a disaster. We have to slowly recount this grim reality. Back in July of 2025, right as training camp was ramping up and the optimism was at an all-time high, Johnson suffered an agonizing soft tissue injury. And look, this wasn't just a minor tweak or a small setback. It completely derails his year. It cost him 10 full games. And here's the worst part. Even when he finally dragged himself back onto the turf, the two-time Pro Bowler was essentially a ghost of his former self. The 100% absolute peak form that earned him that massive, life-changing extension in the first place, it was completely gone, ultimately leaving a grim, incomplete grade on his entire season. To really put this into perspective, let's deliberately contrast the two versions of this player. Look back at his 2023 peak. In a contract year, after literally being granted permission to seek a trade, Johnson stayed and delivered an absolute masterpiece of a season. He earned an elite 90.1 PFF grade. That was the highest of any cornerback in the entire league. He racked up 4 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. He literally erased his side of the football field. Now contrast that spectacular campaign against the grim, incomplete reality of 2025. It is a stark, shocking drop-off. The Bears are paying top-of-the-market money for the 2023 player, but right now, they are stuck with the 2025 results. And that is a huge problem. Which leads us directly to the harsh, unavoidable alternative. Now, General Manager Ryan Poles is not exactly known for his sentimentality, right? According to the numbers from Over the Cap, the Bears can instantly save $16 million in 2027 cap space simply by cutting ties with Jaylon Johnson entirely. Just think about that. That's $16 million that can instantly be rerouted to help fund those inevitable, absolutely crucial mega extensions for Caleb Williams, Darnell Wright, and Rome Odunze. The trapdoor is already built right into the structure of his contract, and Poles has his hand hovering right over the lever, ready to pull it if he has to. So we're essentially looking at two extremely divergent paths here for Johnson. The best case scenario, he comes out, proves the soft tissue injury was a total fluke, plays at least 15 games, secures a top 5 PFF finish, pulls down multiple interceptions, and totally secures his legacy in Chicago. That gives Poles every reason in the world to keep him around. But the worst case scenario? Honestly, it's chilling. What if that soft tissue injury permanently capped his physical potential? What if he plays, but at a level that's far, far below his 2023 standard? And worse still, what if that rookie we were just talking about, Malik Muhammad II, what if he breaks out and proves to be an absolute draft gem? If all that happens, Jaylon Johnson is a massive cap casualty. He's released from the team, gone, just like that. Section 4, the loan guarantee. Let's shift our focus to the defensive line and Montez Sweat. Introduce Montez Sweat. He is quite literally the sole, reliable pillar on the edge of this entire Chicago defense. He was ranked 91st in the top 100 players of 2026 by his peers, and he sits at an impressive 5th in our very own impact rankings. But here is the deeply concerning part about this whole situation. The Bears front office made 0 significant offseason additions to this defensive line room. Literally none. They are entirely 100% reliant on a potential third-year leap from Austin Booker and a desperate prayer that Deo Odiengbo bounces back from a brutal 1-sack season. Right now, Montez Sweat's back has got to be hurting from carrying the weight of this entire defensive line unit on his shoulders. And to truly understand why the Bears are asking him to shoulder this insane burden, you have to understand his sheer, terrifying physical dominance. 4.41 seconds, that is his official 40-yard dash time from the NFL Combine. To put that into perspective, it remains the 3rd fastest time for a defensive end in the entire history of the Combine. The guy is an absolute freak of nature. He is a physically imposing, towering titan who literally gives opposing offensive tackles cold sweats the moment he steps off the team bus. And you can see that dominance in the production disparity from 2025.
Montez Sweat led the entire team with 10 sacks and 3 forced fumbles. And the next closest player in the roster? That would be Jaylon Dexter, who finished with a mere 6 sacks. The gap in talent and production between Sweat and the rest of this Bears roster is an absolute chasm. He vastly outpaced everyone around him, which honestly just proves how desperately alone he really is on that line. Make no mistake, if Sweat goes down with an injury or if he takes a step back and regresses, the Bears' pass rush completely and totally disintegrates.
Section 5. A season on the brink. Let's look at the dark reality of Montez Sweat's future.
We really have to drop this looming, totally unavoidable fact onto the table right now. Montez Sweat turns 31 years old just a week before kickoff. 31! Now, in the NFL, especially for an edge rusher who is highly reliant on that initial explosion and pure speed, 31 is a highly precarious, incredibly dangerous age. It is the exact age where a franchise front office must think twice, maybe even 3 times, before committing massive, guaranteed money to a player. The performance cliff comes incredibly fast for pass rushers, and the Bears are currently standing right at the edge of it, looking down.
Because the financial parallel here to the Jaylon Johnson situation is just staggering. Just like the star cornerback, Montez Sweat is scheduled to carry a massive $25 million cap hit next season. $25 million. Now, obviously, if Sweat goes out there and puts up another dominant double-digit sack season, hey, it's a moot point. He earns the money and he stays. But what if he ages just slightly? What if he loses half a step and only posts 6 or 7 sacks this year? Let me tell you, paying $25 million to a 32-year-old edge rusher coming off a mediocre 7-sack season, that is a fast track to getting a general manager fired. And here is the true, terrifying make-or-break reality of this campaign. According to SpotTrack, the Chicago Bears would instantly, seamlessly save $21 million against the salary cap by cutting Montez Sweat in 2027. Just let that sink in for a second. $21 million in instant financial relief. So the math is brutal but simple. If Sweat struggles at all in 2026, it will absolutely, without a doubt, be his last season in Chicago. The financial incentive for the team to move on is simply too massive to ignore. And look, if you're sitting there thinking that Ryan Poles won't actually pull the trigger on cutting a massive fan favorite, you just haven't been paying close enough attention. You need to remind yourself of the absolute cold-blooded ruthlessness of this front office when it comes to roster building. No player is safe. Just think back to the shocking, totally unceremonious exits of Tremaine Edmonds and DJ Moore. Absolutely no one, and I mean no one, expected DJ Moore to be shipped out of town last July. But he was. It just proves that your past accolades, your jersey sales, and your locker room presence mean absolutely nothing when the financial math no longer makes sense for the team.
Section 6. The final verdict. The ultimate powder keg.
When you really zoom out and look at the macro picture, Hallis Hall isn't just a training facility right now. It is a literal powder keg. It's this highly explosive mixture of expiring contracts, aging stars staring right down the barrel of their 30s, and desperate, hungry rookies who are fighting tooth and nail for the right to simply exist in this league. The underlying message ringing through the halls in Chicago this August is ruthlessly simple. Prove it on the field. Your past accolades? They mean absolutely nothing in 2026. Your fancy draft pedigree? Completely useless. That massive guaranteed contract you signed 3 years ago? It's nothing but a giant target on your back. From Jaylon Johnson's desperate fight to recapture his 2023 elite form, to Montez Sweat battling the undefeated opponent of Father Time, to Dylan Thieneman just trying to decipher an incredibly dense NFL playbook, every single man on this roster is literally fighting for his NFL life.
So I want to leave you with this chilling question to deeply consider as the pads finally start popping in August. When the dust completely settles on the 2026 season and Ryan Poles sits down to look at the ledger, who will actually survive the purge? I really want you to comment your predictions down below right now. Who gets cut? Who gets paid? Let's hear it. And remember, to support the deepest, most relentless NFL analysis on the platform, smash that like button, subscribe to NFL Nexus, and become a channel member today. We will see you in the next explainer.